Hey, what is going on everybody? It is Nolan, or the Optimistic Gamer here, and welcome back to the Optimistic Survival Series. A very exciting episode today because as of yesterday, the 1.20.6 update has been released. That means a handful of new changes yet again. In this update, we are primarily focusing on the Happy Ghast, as well as some added visuals to the game, including the clouds extending far into the distance. It makes the world look very dynamic. We also have some new fog as well, which we can see off in the peaks of the mountains. It makes our world much more vibrant and lively, that's for sure. But of course, the star of the show today is all about the Happy Ghast, the new mob added to the game that allows us to mount on its back and fly through the air like a hot air balloon. That is what we are going to be doing today, and in the next episode, we will be creating a sort of station/platform for these mobs. Now, there are two ways to acquire the dried, I believe it's the dried ghast block. The first is in the nether by locating fossils. However, that would require us to either reset some of those nether chunks or travel very far in a specific direction. I don't really want to do that, as we have reset our world quite a bit, so we are opting for the alternative, which is a soul sand surrounded by ghast tears. That will give us a dried ghast block, and look at how cute that little block is. How do we mine this? I guess, we can just break it instantly with our hand. That is nice and simple. Now, by itself, it doesn't really do anything. It looks cool, that's for sure, and it is very cute, but it is kind of sad right now, and we want this ghast to be happy. So we are going to take it down to our lake, where we will place it in the water, and over the course of 20 minutes, it will come to life in the form of an actual Happy Ghast, at which point it will go through some growth stages, or maybe just a single growth stage over the span of another 20 minutes. So we're looking at 40 minutes altogether, but we will speed that process up later on. And I forgot, we do actually have to waterlog the ghast, although I forgot that these blocks aren't actually waterlogged, so if we place it right there, there we go, we get a new advancement. Stay hydrated. Place a dried ghast block into water. So again, we will start that 20-minute timer, and we will come back to a not fully grown Happy Ghast, but a Happy Ghast come to life. That's not the only addition in this 1.20.6 update. There are some big changes that I am very excited about. One of them is we can now craft saddles. That's not really a problem for us, as we have dozens of saddles already, but for the early game it would certainly be very useful. And now that we can do that, we can get another saddle put onto our camels. Of course, we probably could have and should have just done that a while ago, but we will do it in the spirit of the new update. There you go, my friend. While we wait for our ghast to grow up, I guess we could take a look at that new saddle crafting recipe. That is crafted using 3 leather, and we will actually grab out a little extra leather. We are going to need that to craft something else that will be very important to us later on. We also use a single iron ingot, and we are just going to, well, we can see it right here, place an iron ingot in the middle with 3 leather surrounding it on the top. Again though, we are not going to craft that into an actual saddle. The other thing that the crafting recipe changed for is leads. We no longer require slime for that. It is just 5 string, which is very convenient because slime, especially early in the game, can be difficult to obtain. Similar to the saddles, we don't need any leads, so we are not actually going to craft that right now, but definitely a change. Early game changes for sure that are very convenient for players starting off, and maybe they don't have slime or any other resources like that. We also have a new music disc, Tears by Amos Roddy, I believe is how you say that name, and a few other background tracks as well that were added into the game. We are not going to focus so much on those today. In fact, we don't really have any music discs outside of what we have discovered in the naturally generating structures. If we were in a multiplayer game, we would also see a locator bar right here at the bottom that would help us find where the other players are. Of course, we are in a single player game, so we don't actually have that. Aside from that, those are all of the new items, except for one more very important item that we will need once our Happy Ghast is ready to take to the skies. And that item is a harness. This can be crafted in all 16 colors of wool that we have, but we are going to use our blue wool, and I'm assuming it is crafted like this. Yes, it is. Of course, we had the recipe right there, but I wanted to give that a guess. The harness will go on the Happy Ghast, which again is the fully grown ghast, and I've been speaking incorrectly. The ghastling is the baby version of the Happy Ghast. So once that is fully hydrated, we are about 5 minutes in. Once we hit that 20-minute mark, a ghastling will emerge from the water. Now we can give the ghastling some snowballs, and that will speed up that 20-minute timer for the ghastling to become a Happy Ghast. When that happens, we can lure the Happy Ghast using our new harness here, and after that we can ride the ghast through the skies, controlling it similar to how we would control a horse. And we have our first vibrant visuals sunset off in the distance. I can't really tell if it looks different or not, obviously the clouds, but I'm also looking at the color. It might look a little bit different. Nonetheless, it is very, very awesome to finally have that in the works for our game. Between the aesthetic changes of this update and the addition of the fireflies and the new sounds and the particles in the last update, our world is really coming to life, and I'm very excited about it because that is what we are all about here, making a world that feels like it is actually lived in and not just something static that we have come and gone. And there is one thing I forgot to grab, that is snowballs, which, as I explained, we can use that to accelerate the growth of our ghastling. So we are ready with our snowballs, and now we are just going to wait for our ghastling to emerge, at which point we will give it some snowballs and wait for our full Happy Ghast. We are not going to tie it up or anything because the Happy Ghast will roam in an area roughly around our lake. It is a 64 block radius from the original block that its home is, or from where it last interacted with a player. So we don't have to worry about it going too far, and the ghast will stay relatively close to any blocks or close to the ground, so we also don't have to worry about it traveling up to the clouds and not being able to reach it. But until then, we are going to hang out here, and once it is fully grown, I will meet all of you right back here. Or sorry, once it is a ghastling, we will meet right back here. So I will see all of you very soon. And after 20 minutes, our dried ghast has sprung to life in the form of a ghastling, the halfway point between the dried ghast and the Happy Ghast. Our ghastling can be lured using snowballs, and it will choose to follow us around or the closest mob in the area. We can also speed up the growth process. Again, this is a 20-minute timer for the ghastling to grow into the full-sized Happy Ghast, and we can accelerate that using our snowballs. We are going to give it 16, which should really accelerate that timer quite a bit for us and get us to the point where we can equip a harness onto it. And where is it going? Okay, it is coming back down now. It is in roaming mode. It will just kind of roam around in the area. But once the ghastling is fully grown into a Happy Ghast, we will lure it using our harness. We can also use snowballs if the harness is already on. And when we do that, equip the harness, we can mount the ghast and fly around as if it is a hot air balloon. Lots of fun. And of course, if we are in multiplayer, we can have up to 4 people riding on the ghast at once, which I think is a very fun addition to the game. A new way of traveling and exploring the world. So our ghastling is going to follow us around for a little while, and once we get again to that fully grown Happy Ghast stage, I will meet you back here once again, and we will take to the skies. And there we go, right in front of our eyes. Our ghastling is no longer a baby ghastling anymore, but a fully grown Happy Ghast that seems to be wandering away from us very quickly, but descending down to the water. Now again, we can lure it using our harness, but we have to get close enough first, and over this lake is not really an ideal spot. It looks just like a ghast from the Nether with a few slight texture variations on it, but for the most part it is the same size and of course the same color and that same cute face. Once the ghast gets close enough to us, we can mount the harness onto it and again take to the skies. Now a few notes about the Happy Ghast. It does not breed, nor will it enter boats. Those two things do not work with it, and if it takes damage, it will slowly regenerate over time, especially during rain, snow, and thunderstorms, although I don't think we want to be out during a thunderstorm. And if we take it up to the cloud height, it will regenerate a little bit faster. So we are trying to get the ghast down to us. And here we go, it looks like we have to... There we go. Alright, the harness is on and we have mounted ourselves onto the ghast. So we can control it now by facing in a certain direction and using our keys, our W, A, S, and D, forward, backward, left, and right keys. And if we look in a certain direction while holding W, we will move in that direction, including... Well, I guess we don't actually use... I take that back, we can use all of our keys to move around, and it looks like we can move side to side as well. I know a lot of people have talked about being very excited about using this for building, especially reaching hard to reach places. Say for example, we were building our storage building right over here, and we had to add a few more blocks over here on the side of the wall. Well, with the ghast, we don't need any scaffolding. We can just fly right over to the wall, and we can stop right here, and the ghast will not go anywhere, and we can get those blocks placed onto here. Very convenient. If we hop off of our ghast up here, we will stay put, and then we can get back on and fly away. Now, if we are very high above ground, say right here, and we get off, our ghast should lower us to the ground. Although I don't know why it isn't. I see, it's not if we actually dismount like this, it is if we jump off of the ghast, then it will slowly descend back to the ground, just as we have seen it do. But let's get back on this ghast once again, and go into third-person mode, because when we are in flight mode, the goggles are down in front of the ghast. It is so much fun to have this added into the game. But that is really all there is to the Happy Ghast, the ghastling, the dried ghast, and of course the 1.20.6 update. I know it was a little bit of a shorter episode, but I wanted to get this out there just to get it out there, especially since it is a new update. I wanted to help introduce it to all of you, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, definitely hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on content as soon as I publish it. Check the description for some more important information, links, how to contact me, all of that good stuff. Stay tuned for our next episode, in which we will be building a dock for a handful of our ghast friends. Until then, comment, like, subscribe, remember to stay optimistic, and I will see all of you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Bye!